guys, welcome to Bar Chat. We've got a bit of a special version today. Some of these people not in the country having a much better time than I am. This is brought to you by the Easy Breeze Bar and Restaurant here in Windermere. This is your podcast for casual banter and expert opinions. Well, we'll wait and see on that one. We have got some of our locals with us today. As you know, this is basically all that we do here is talk about everything we talk about at bar, just with a couple of mics and some silly headphones on and some nice sunglasses. First of all, please do like and share onto our, we are live, so we have actually got a comments feed here. So if anyone wants to comment, I'm inviting trouble. Anyone wants to comment there, we can, and we'll read out any feedback along the way. I need to introduce my guests first of all. Firstly, Paul Rooney in the middle here, glasses. Annoyingly, where are you?
I'm in Mercia, Mark, enjoying a little bit of 34-degree sunshine and golf at the same time, so not too bad.
Yeah, you understand a bit of golf this morning. How many rounds have you got in for the next, how long are you there for?
Come back Sunday, so it's a flying visit, really. Didn't have a great round today. Less stable for... I got less stable for points than I played holes, and I lost more balls than I had played holes as well, so that kind of sums up the round, but... Weather's good. I can't complain.
What are you playing off these days?
Well, I'm claiming 28. So are the other two.
You're what they call the Maverick.
I don't know. Looking at my scores, I don't think so. No, definitely not.
So I assume there's a drinking forfeit into all of this?
There isn't. We're calling it the warm-up round. So we'll try harder tomorrow. We'll practice today. Try harder tomorrow. We'll see.
Well, also, you've got to show them what's behind you. This made me sick earlier. Go on, show them.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sway that way. The swimming pool at my friend's villa, which he's just sold, incidentally, so we won't be here ever again. But a nice trip nonetheless.
And he's only just come back from Portugal, wherever you were last week. Was it last week?
Marbella. Yeah.
It's like Phileas Fogg.
It's got to be done.
Yeah. Also with us, we've got Matty. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I mean, mate, not as exotic as looking. I'm feeling like we're being done up like a bunch of kippers here. Where are you?
I'm at home. I'm in Windlesham in Surrey. And yeah, the clouds are out, so it's not great today.
It's not quite. At least he's filling the screen, and we don't have to look at it. It's fine. So anyway, listen, we're here to talk about. This is our Euros quarterfinals special. Oh dear. Right. Well, let's first of all look. Before we get to England, we're going to have a little touch on the games. They're all playing live here at the Easy Breeze. Today at 5 o'clock kickoff, we've got Spain and Germany, and then at 8 o'clock we've got Portugal and France. And then tomorrow, of course, the big one, England, Switzerland. We'll get onto that, and then Holland and Turkey. Any fancies today, boys, before we get onto the England debacle? Spain, Germany?
I think this will be a hard-fought game today. I think this is the game that everyone would have liked to see in a final.
Not being,
and it's going to be well. Obviously, but for the neutrals, maybe. And I think this will be but I think it will be a good game. I think this will be the best game of the tournament.
Yeah, Paul?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, they're both in form. Spain probably the heaviest form team at the minute. Look at Germany up front, Sane, Musiala. They look like they've got goals in them for fun. So could be, as you said, game of the tournament potential. And I guess after that, you've got Ronaldo and his tears possibly at the end of the French game. Although the French have bored many people to tears in the tournament up to now. So
why is that?
Who knows?
I was going to say that, chaps. I mean, I wonder if the format in the rounds and the group games where the third place got through meant that people didn't take a risk. Whereas I think when it's two teams going through, they do. But there isn't many goals. Everyone does seem to be sitting back. May, have you got a view on that? I mean, it's not been. I mean, I love the spectacle, but it's not been the best football, in my opinion. I don't know about yours.
It hasn't at all. Nothing. Like Paul said, Spain have been, for me, the team that are standing out at the moment. Nico Williams for them is looking very good. But like you say, because of the three teams that go through, no one's actually having a real go because it's a safety net for them to fall back on if by being careful it doesn't work out. They've got a safety net of third place going through. So some of the games have been actually quite boring, to be fair.
Well, yeah,
mostly England.
Well, we'll get on that in a second. Paul, have you got? I mean, I think you touched on the Portugal thing earlier. I mean, they're playing France today. Mbappe's complaining he's having to wear a mask, and therefore we're not getting the best of him. But we certainly aren't we? And I think, have they got the same problem we've got? Didier Deschamps and got the different mindset.
I think so. I've heard it said that Deschamps' game plan, if you like, for tournaments is something that Southgate's looked at and copied, and believed that level of defensive rigidity is a platform for success. But it's high risk because one goal knocks you out invariably. And I think that's where tonight it'll be interesting to see. I think Ronaldo, to a degree, holds Portugal back. I think if they could leave him out and see how they go. And they've got some fabulous players, Portugal. If they let them go, I think they could out football France for sure. But it depends what team he puts out there.
So who's that kid that came on for Ronaldo in the World Cup and scored a couple of goals and I've not seen him. Is he in the squad this year? Or?
Was it João Felix?
No, not João Felix. No. Some lad up front. I can't remember, his name escapes me, but not seen him. And like you say, I think they're trying to play around Ronaldo, and he's not Ronaldo anymore.
Well, B and I had this conversation. He's not on this call now, so he was going to be tuning in because he's in Marrakesh as well. But he can't get a decent signal over there. But he was adamant that CR7 would tear it up. I think what we've seen here is when you move to the Farmers League, that is the Saudi League, that it ain't the same level, is it? And he's getting shown up here. And I mean, Henderson went there for a bit, came back. He's not even shine. I know he's not in the team, but I mean, he's not even doing much for Ajax either. So, it's the end of his career, isn't he? And I do agree with you. If there's a young player, and I know the guy you're talking about, I can't remember his name. Anyone can got their name, do put it in the comments. B, if you're listening, you'll know. That kid, everything seems to be they're trying to get the ball to Ronaldo, and he's just not Ronaldo, is he? He's not the guy
No.
Body language isn't good for the team.
The puppy's got a carrier bag. Hang on.
That's all right, man. This is what puppies do. You see, this thing is, Paul. He saw my puppy and then bought another one. Yeah, mate. They eat everything. You need an old pair of shoes or something.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, listen, we'll crack. We've got to talk about it, guys. I don't know where you were. I was here at the Breeze. I know. Were you still away, Paul? I don't know.
No, I was in the New Inn. It was double stamp game. So,
I mean, it was fucking awful. And the only thing that it needed, like a Gascoigne moment, a Beckham against Greece moment, and we got it. We got the Bellingham overhead kick and basically saved everyone's bacon. But I don't know if you noticed when everyone came out of the stadium, you could see the England fans. It was like that in here. No one was really celebrating. I mean, we're in the quarterfinal. You think everyone's just going, this is a fucking joke.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly the same.
I don't know where. I saw you briefly after, Paul, but I mean, where are you on that? I mean, something's got to change tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest frustration with that is we were seconds from going out, and yet his use or lack of use of substitutes was just criminal, absolutely criminal. And you look at the talent on the bench, and you've got to think, how do those players feel watching that, seeing the importance as that clock ticks down, and not getting the tap on the shoulder? I think that's got to be terrible for morale within the squad.
But this consistency. I mean, he's played Mainu in the middle of the park with Rice. I think that is a good decision. But the consistency of playing people out of position, and then when he makes substitution, I mean, I think the criminal thing someone pointed out yesterday is everything that was happening. They only made 2 substitutions, and the last one was with 2.5 minutes to go, and we're 1-0 down, and he brings Tony on, which turned out he was involved in the winner, but. why doesn't he make the changes? Why is everyone I speak to, it doesn't matter what pub I'm in, is saying the same thing, and the only person on the planet that can't see it is Southgate.
Southgate.
Yeah. I don't know if it's bloody mindedness, arrogance, naivety. Any manager,
Stubbornness.
yeah, definitely any manager in a game where you've clearly got to switch it up because it wasn't working with that formation, has to really dip into that talent and change it. And he doesn't seem to want to do it. It's not that he hasn't got. I think we all got club football teams when occasionally you've got nobody to bring on from the bench, and it's a challenge. But he's got everybody to bring on from the bench to really mix it up.
I mean, Maddie, I'm sure you'll agree with this. It's like he's got a problem on the left-hand side. I mean, why didn't he take Grealish? And why hasn't he taken a left back? And all these people now going, well, play Saka on left back. But I mean, it's pathetic.
Yeah,
but what
situation?
So he's got. I mean, he's got a left back in Luke Shaw. But if he's injured, why did he take him?
Yeah,
why is he taking Luke Shaw if he's not going to play him? If he's that injured, why would you take him?
Well, he said that was the reason why he wasn't taking. Who was it? Was it? Yeah. Well, okay. But there's a few that he hasn't taken. I don't think he took Grealish because he's only played a certain amount of games. But I mean, he's exactly what we need right now. I mean,
Luke Shaw,
and Grealish. That left-hand side. I mean, why? I mean, he should be playing Gordon. We've been saying this a lot. Gordon or Eze out on the left-hand side. Get the balance in the team. Get Foden in the middle with Bellingham. Get Rice in the anchor, or Mainu, or both, and get some balance into the team. And this is probably what leading into there's a lot of rumours at the moment going around with Southgate is looking at doing a 3-5-2, which is something he's never done. So he's going to have to break the rules a little bit. Is he doing that because he's finally the penny's dropping, Paul, or do you think he's doing that because he's got a potential injury with Stones or something?
I don't know. I mean, Gay is out, isn't he? He's suspended for the game. So looking at the bench, he's got if he was to go to a pure back three, he's got Conser, Dunk. Even Gomez could do a job there. But, again, refreshing the whole defence for a knockout game that hasn't built any pattern, any rhythm, any relationship with the other players. So I think it feels slightly high risk.
But maybe that's
too
why
late as well.
Go into a 3, right? So if he goes 3, we'll go Walker, Stones, Trippier, I assume. And then he gets the extra guy in midfield. Maybe that's what he's seeing. I mean, one of the interesting, I don't know if you guys listen to Talk Sport, Alan Brazil was saying that he's actually heard there is a bit of a there's something going on in the camp. People aren't happy. So, the one thing Southgate's done for the England team is bond them all together and create unity and make people who are enjoying playing for England. And now we're hearing maybe there's a problem.
Yeah. That's actually one of my notes that I've got written down there, that there's apparent unrest in the camp.
I know. I don't know if they've said any more. Have you heard? They indicated, well, they're not going to, are they? They're not going to say who.
No. So what I've heard, I don't think it was the Alan Brazil show. It was a show on Talksport they were saying that there is. It was a reporter saying there's unrest in the camp. They don't know who it is. They know who it is, but they're not saying anything until after when we're out of the tournament, or after the final of the tournament. And when it does come out, the person involved will be very, very embarrassed.
It can't be a player that's playing, can it?
Yeah.
It's got to be one player that's not getting a game, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing on Talk Sport related to Brazil, I know he'd made a comment around Palmer, saying Palmer had been asked what he'd been doing when he hadn't been involved in the games. Said he'd been watching other games, and he says, well, what else is there for me to do? And he was pretty cold about it. I think if you look on the pitch, the body language, and understandably so, I think, given what's been done to him, is probably from Foden. Foden is clearly unhappy with what he's been asked or expected to do and what the team aren't doing. But yeah.
It's interesting you say that, Paul, because Foden's come out this week and he said that Southgate is, the complaint being we're playing too deep and we haven't got a decent press and blah, blah, blah. Is that what they're saying is Foden's saying, no, Southgate is telling us to push forward and therefore why aren't they? Which does lead me to my next question, and I got it in the description of this video, is that we're all very quick to blame Southgate. And listen, he ain't the guy. But I don't know about you, but if you're the best players in the world, we've got the Player of the Year from the La Liga in Bellingham, we've got the Young Player of the Year from in Foden for England. You've got a plethora of talent. Declan Rice is an Arsenal fan. Declan Rice and Saka haven't put a foot wrong all season. And I do appreciate they're out. Some of them are out of position, and I do appreciate that there's no balance in the team. But these players are so good. What is going on? And I heard Piers Morgan the other day saying, with Bellingham, instead of sorting his shit out because he's been shit the entire tournament, other than an overhead kick, he disappeared. He did score one goal, but he's not been part. He's not this brilliant player. Instead, he's posting videos about being the king of something. I don't know. He's boasting on Instagram, and you feel like saying. Then they moan when anyone criticizes them because that's these days this is what happens. But really, do they not need to man up? Stop moaning about people having a go at them. They've been useless. We have won the group because we were playing nobody, and now we're about to play somebody in Switzerland, and we're very likely, if we play like we've played so far, we're going home.
I know, yeah.
Don't criticise. This is bullshit.
Yeah, I think the criticism has been, there's been lots of it, let's face it, and I think it's been fair. And that balance between what the manager is asking them to do versus what they're carrying out. They're all reasonably experienced players with a hell of a lot of talent. I take the point around them being well capable of managing themselves and working it out themselves. So it feels to me it's more managerial strategy than it is player kind of non-performance. But the one thing that is clear is, and it's happened with France as well, a lot of the players playing in the top leagues, Champion Leagues, etc., they're exhausted and they look it. Yeah. They look totally flat.
They do look. Bellingham looks very leggy at the minute. He's not the player. But even in the Champions League final, he's slow. He's not the same player that was playing that so well in La Liga this last season. And we just, it's just so boring. And
I know there's a statistic that I mentioned to the guys on a previous bar chat, is that the age that Bellingham is today. I don't know if you heard this stat. He has played, and if you took Beckham at the same age, Bellingham has played 5 times as many games.
As who?
As Beckham. When Beckham was Bellingham's age, in terms of appearances, Bellingham has played 5 times as many already. It's a bonkers stat. But I mean, Declan Rice was asked about this. I don't know if you saw him last week before the last game. He said, "Is everyone tired? Are you tired?" And he said, "You're joking." I mean, of course we're not tired. I mean, but something needs to be, I mean, something's wrong, isn't it? Something needs to go. I mean, let's get to a lineup. Let's look at how we can maybe address this. Paul, I mentioned a 3-5-2. Have you got an idea on what would you do to try and address some of this balance and get us further up the pitch?
I'm not so sure. I would have, rather than really go at the 3-5-2, I would have certainly played Palmer more, Gordon a lot more on the left, and tried to get the balance without having to be so dramatic in terms of change of formation into a knockout round. What would be your lineup for Switzerland? We've got to make a change. What would you do? What would you do at this stage? I think I would probably start Palmer, and I would say that about Saka. I think Southgate made an interesting comment the other day when he was asked about what Palmer has to do to get a game, and he said Saka's had an outstanding tournament, and Saka's had an outstanding season for Arsenal, but he's not had an outstanding tournament. If the manager thinks that and he's saying that, and he starts him again on the right, it's more of the same. And again, Kane, we were all shouting at the TV set the other day, they're taking Kane and Bellingham off, and guess what? Kane scores, Bellingham scores. But I give the manager no credit for that. That was just one of those things. It wasn't strategic, it wasn't brilliance, it was just a moment of magic from Bellingham to drive into extra time, and then Kane, was always going to polish that one off. But I'm at a loss really to say what he ought to do. I really struggle with it, because to me it's the balance, and even changing it dramatically, trying to find that balance straight off in a knockout game when you're playing against the Swiss, who are playing rhythmically, methodically as a team, not individuals, as a team every single game. It's going to be tough, really tough.
So you mentioned Gay, he is out. So if he did do a 3, I mean, this is back to the problem. It only leaves, Pickford in goal, obviously. It only leaves Walker, Stones, and Trippier. Has anyone got any other thought? If he does the 3, it could be anything else or anyone else.
Well, I think if you're playing a back 3, I don't think you want 2 fullbacks in a back 3. You want 3 centre backs. You want a left-sided centre back.
Inside though,
Walker's probably the exception, but both Walker and Trippier aren't exactly tall, are they? So you've got the Stones, who is a doubt. I think they've said he's an injury doubt for the game. So then you're looking at the bench, and you're looking at centre backs. You've got Canter, Dunk, and Gomez could do a job. But again, if you were to refresh it all for that one game, it just feels too dramatic. And again, Swiss aren't changing the team. They've got a formation that works and a team that's really gelled, and they'll be just looking to push on. So it's going to be tough.
He goes 5 in the middle. Do you think he's trying to get Trent in the team? I mean, I know you're a Liverpool fan. Didn't mention that. But would you like to see Trent in there? I mean, you've seen a lot more of the Trent, I would think, than we have.
Bias aside. The one thing Trent always gives you is brilliant attacking options and killer balls, but the one thing you always get is exposure. So if you're thinking he can nullify the exposure with a back 3, again, it just feels high risk.
Well, there's another side to this as well, is that I assume with Trent, with those balls over the top, you've got to play someone who can play, on that last man, whereas Kane comes in deep. So what's the point if he hasn't got that outlet?
Oh, you're right. And is he going to be brave enough to not play Kane to put the Villa lad up there? I doubt it. Or the Brentford lad. I don't know. It's tough. It is tough. The more you think about it, the more depressing it gets.
Yeah, I know. Really. Well, Matt, if I ask you to name your 11 for the
my 11 in a 3-5-2.
Yeah, or I'll tell you what. I'll give you the. You can do whatever you like, but if the 3-5-2, I'm not against the 3-5-2, by the way. But what would be your 11?
Okay, so I've written down a 3-5-2, and I've gone, obviously, like you say, Pickford in goal.
Mm-hmm.
Should Stones play, then Stones in the middle. I've heard that his knee strapping looks worse than it actually is.
Good.
So I've gone with Stones, Walker to the right side of him, and Konza on the left side of him.
Okay.
Right. And then the wing. Pardon?
I don't know a lot about Konza, but we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, go on. A lot of people are saying that.
But
go for it.
I've gone with Konza because I've seen Dunk, and I don't want Dunk in the playing in the team. Right. So I've gone. So wing backs, I've gone on the left. I've gone with Luke Shaw.
Presuming he's fit.
Because allegedly he's been training. People are saying, why would you take the risk of putting him in at a quarter-final? But when are you going to put him in?
Agreed.
Going back to what I said earlier, what's the point in taking him if you're not going to put him in at some point? So I've gotten Shaw left wing back, and I've put Trent right wing back.
Okay.
And I know Trent can be exposed defensively sometimes, but you've got Walker on the right side of the middle as cover, and his pace and everything. So that's why I've gone with Trent. I've then gone in the middle of the park. I've got Kobbie Mainoo, Rice, and Bellingham.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Foden in front of Bellingham and Kane up top.
Oh, right. So you're sort of playing a 3-5-1-1.
1-1, yeah.
I don't mind that. I don't mind. It's much more balanced. I mean, the only argument I would have potentially is that left side. You see, what I think's happening with Saka. I mean, Saka's not in that team there, but the problem we're having with Saka, I think, is because Foden comes inside, so the wing back comes inside, and you'll find then that Saka's always got 2 or 3 men on him. And the thing where, if you notice, when Gordon came on the other day, or Eze came on, we were starting to attack him down the left hand side, which creates space on the other side. So what we have to do is back to B mentioned back in the day, Euro '96, we had Darren Anderton, donkey, down one wing and McManaman down the other one, but we had pace, and then someone like Shearer in the middle was on the end of these crosses. At the moment, we're always coming inside, which means, to be fair to Kane, I'm not his biggest fan, but what he wants is people getting round the back and crossing the ball over or cutting it back in. That's what he's good at. So I think that's what we've got to try and achieve. But I quite like that balance. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I scribbled notes down and crossed things, names out, moved them in. I had the same mid-centre mid in Rice, Bellingham, Maynard. I think that is balanced. I think it's strong. I get the sense of Walker on the right side of a 3. I guess the only other thing is the Swiss have got pace to burn. So balls over the top are going to be interesting and how they cut that out. I also had Foden sat behind Kane, but I agree with you. To get the best from Kane, it's normally at close quarters and it's normally coming in from wide. So I just don't think he's going to be brave enough to drop him and try, say, Watkins or the like. But the balance, I think, is better. I just worry, and I think we knew it coming into the tournament, defensively, England aren't really there. This squad doesn't have the balance. So you said it's criminal bringing Shaw in the condition he was in. It almost feels a bit like he feels he's got to play him to justify the fact he brought him, opposed to he's 100% fit. Well, let's hope not.
Yeah. I've also gone with my wing backs as well. I've also, to come on for those if it's not working or anything, I've got on the left, obviously Gordon, and on the right, Palmer. So instead of Trent and Shaw, Palmer and Gordon. So to inject that pace down the outside. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting that we haven't, leaning to your point, Paul, we haven't played anyone decent. And so if there was ever a time to play a 3, it should have been 4 games ago.
Should have been, yeah.
You shouldn't think about anyone. I mean, with the armory that we have in the final third, midfield into the attack, we shouldn't. We should go full Kevin Keegan, shouldn't we? I mean, not even worried about conceding goals. Just try and win 5-2 or something or other, because we're quite good in our ability. Of course, Southgate's not going to think that way. But I think one of the things that Gary Neville said, I heard a couple of weeks back, is he said the best players don't make the best team, and which sounds like a bit of an oxymoron. But what he was saying is, if we haven't got a left back, but don't put your best right back, left back, because you can't have him in the team. We're in the Gerrard Lampard moment there, where we can't choose between the players. What we've got to do is, okay, if the best left back plays for Brentford, no disrespect for Brentford, I didn't know that back in. He's the best guy. Let's put him in the team. But we certainly do have 2 players in every position bar the defence. And so, like you're saying there, if we're not getting a tune out of Trent and you're not getting a tune out of Shaw, in comes Palmer, in comes Saka, and we've got an abundance of armoury. And I'd just like to see, if nothing else, on the front foot.
Yeah. Oh, great. If you go out, you want to go out all guns blazing. And it feels like we're nowhere near that at the minute. And it feels like the evidence of the substitutions, a lack of the other night, suggests if it gets tight against Switzerland, they do the same. They'd be tweeting things with seconds to go as opposed to 25, 30 minutes.
Well, it was encouraging. I thought we might be getting somewhere when he took Kane off. Was it in the second game? And he thought, that's not working. I thought, okay, that was brave. But then obviously what happened in the last one, he didn't make any changes at all. So what did we think of that? I mean, the other thing people are speculating is his 2 would be an Ivan Toney and a Kane. and I guess is to get the best of both worlds on that. How would you feel about that as a pairing?
I'd rather have Watkins and Kane.
Right. So put him on the turn.
Yeah.
But Kane would definitely come deep then, wouldn't he?
Yeah, drop in. Yeah, Kane drop in, and because Watkins is quick, he's got a turn of pace. He could obviously the season's just gone. He shows he can finish. I'd rather have them two than Tony. But let's be honest, Tony hasn't played a lot of football since he's come back. He's played, but he didn't get.
I think he's almost as many goals. Too similar to Kane. Like he's the sort of great player holding the ball up. He's good in the air. Obviously, he's a good penalty taker. That he's too similar. So the mix between having, as you say, maybe a Watkins and a Kane, or even a Tony and didn't Tony and Watkins play together at Brentford couple of 3 seasons?
No, I don't think they did. I don't think they did.
At Brentford.
It was Ben Rama and Watkins, wasn't it?
It was, BMW, they used to call it.
BMW, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a combination, wasn't it?
But I think...
anyway, go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think Watkins and Kane, it's almost like an old-fashioned big number 9 in Kane. And then having your quick centre forward. So Kane flicking it on, or Kane dropping deep and playing it through, Watkins running behind, the old-fashioned front two sort of thing.
Yeah, and then when you think, I was going to say, when you think about the flexibility as well, I feel for Foden, I feel he deserves a chance at a true 10. And as a true 10 behind Watkins, I think you've got variety, excitement, the unexpected for defences, rather than the kind of prescriptive formula we've almost played out in every other game. But again, these are big decisions. Is he going to make these big calls? I doubt it for a starting lineup.
But if we're going to see the best, I don't know if you won't have seen it, but on one of the previous episodes, we had a heat map and all these key players about where they touched the ball throughout the season. For example, with Foden for Man City, and every single, his most dangerous, the most effective is inside right. That's where he's picking the ball up, cutting inside, having a shot with his left foot, and so on and so forth. And the heat, and in that heat map, what you see is him going. He never goes out to the left, ever. So and the same for Kane is that his heat map for Bayern Munich is solidified on the 12-yard box, but for England, it's sort of on 25 yards out. Here lies the problem. I know it's not always about the stats. But certainly I would just love, like we're saying, going on the front foot, just love to see all these players play in their perfect position. And I think we've got a team.
Yeah, I agree. I had a interesting conversation with my brother the other night on it. And he said, imagine if, it never happened, but the FA got rid of Southgate at the end of qualification and said to Klopp, here's a 4-game deal. Here's your players. Get that team playing to the final. And you think what he could do with those players. Therefore, we've got the players because I think he'd do a great job. Therefore, it has to be a big part of the manager's responsibility as to how they're playing. Because I don't think you'd swap many of the players man for man.
May I?
No.
I mean,
so you say, if you've got the players are saying they're not pressing, right? But surely it's up to the manager. If the manager was playing the players in their best positions, where they play the best football, where they've won Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, etc., then you'll get out of them what you ask of them. When they're playing out of position, they're almost trying to think too much about the position that they're playing because they're not used to it, rather than just playing football.
Yeah. I mean, I made a joke the other week when we got into doing starting lineups because one of the things that Southgate was doing is, I think it was the first game where he took Trent off and then put Walker left back, and it was like every time he made a decision, he played someone out of position. So when we got to the next lineup, I went, well, my 11, I'm going to have Saka in goal. We'll put centre mid. I mean, how far do you want to go? How ridiculous do you want it to be? Just when you're thinking you're going to get somewhere, like you said, if you don't play left back, for fuck's sake, you don't know how to play there.
No.
It's one.
But apparently, the Swiss, is it true the Swiss play a 3-5-2?
Yeah. There is an argument that this is apparently where this rumor has come from, because they've been putting these, they put them on the pitch like dummies, these things on the training pitches.
Yeah.
And they've lined them up in a 5, and the media have picked up, well, England are going to play a 3-5-2, whereas some other guys are going, chill out. They're just playing a 3-5-2, so they're lining it up that way. So I mean, this all might be poppycock, as they say.
Yeah.
He would be, but he's never not played a 4-4-2. Don't you know that?
Never.
Well,
there's a stat I didn't know.
Yeah.
But like you say, stats don't mean everything.
No. Indeed. I think the other thing I was going to say, to lean into your point, Paul, is that I made exactly the same comment about getting Klopp in, because he knows all of those players. I don't know if you saw in the Cup of America, the Ivory Coast sacked their manager after one game.
Yeah.
No, this is bollocks. Get rid of him. And they brought the guy in. They won the next 2 games. I haven't actually kept up to speed as to whether they're out or whether they're in, out, or indifferent. But you got to make some big decisions. And I agree with you. I mean, Klopp, what are you doing? He's probably sat on the beach in Dubai doing that. Can you just come in and help Coco the clown here, because he doesn't seem to have a fucking clue what he's doing.
He might be in the villa next door, Paul. Go and knock on the door. See if he's next door.
Probably having a round of golf.
I'll have a look.
Yeah,
indeed.
Right, we're getting to the end. I wanted to just say to you one thing. He isn't going to go on, Southgate. I think regardless of what happens, this will be it. Next England manager for you guys. Do you mind a foreign manager? Would you? I mean, we all know that the FA are going to pick someone like Lampard or Graham Potter or someone like that. But if you could have an England manager, realistic, I mean, we'd all say Pep if we could, because we'd love it. But do we think got someone you think who might be available that would be a good fit for this team? Anyone got any thoughts on that?
It goes quiet.
It does, yeah. Tumbleweed's just gone through the lounge, but it's difficult, isn't it? Because you're right. I think the FA like to be in control of it, and they love Southgate because they're totally in control of Southgate, and there's never any detrimental, other than performance headlines. There's never anything that upsets them or makes them worry. I don't know. Maybe Newcastle manager, maybe.
Eddie Howe.
Yeah, Eddie Howe. Maybe at least he plays decent, attractive football. He's an honest guy. He could probably fit in that kind of template that the FA like as well. But he's renowned for forward-thinking football, and it's certainly not what we're getting served up at the minute.
No,
so do you think also going on? So this coming season, Kieran McKenna has a good season. Do you think Kieran McKenna is?
I mean, if I was anything to do with him, I'd say don't take that job. I mean, poison chalice, isn't it?
I was going to say, do you think it's too early for if Kieran McKenna has another good season at Ipswich? Yeah, do you think it's too early?
I wouldn't mind like I don't have a problem with a foreign manager. Someone like an Ancelotti, or I know they're older statesmen of the game, but they know how to play football. I mean, would you have Mourinho?
I guess.
No. I don't think I would, no.
See, I think you would, Paul, wouldn't you?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, you look at the Capello example, that was the golden generation in South Africa, wasn't it? It was awful. Players didn't get on with him, he didn't get on with the players, they didn't perform, the players didn't speak to each other, they had their own cliques, their own clubs. And with the worry is if you bring in, and I get it, Mourinho's not really a foreigner, he's been around the Premier League for decades. But that sense of the cohesion, I guess, between all of it.
Yeah, I mean, I know like these successful managers now seem to be younger, B, they can relate to them, whereas the statesman-like managers going in, certainly Hodgson this year, bless him, he was unwell, but players like that maybe there's a disconnect, and maybe that's the thing that Southgate has brought to the game. And so if they do bring, which is why I think they'll get Lampard. I just think.
Do you really think Lampard?
Yeah, I just think I don't want him, but it would be such an FA-like decision.
Yeah.
I mean, is that or Gerrard? But surely, I mean, God, you know. But I'd like to see the betting. I mean, the betting man. You're a betting man, Paul. You must have.
I am indeed.
You'll have to report back. Have you got any wagers actually on the tournament?
The only bet I had on a team was Portugal each way at 15-2. That was before the tournament. And as I said, the frustration for me has been Ronaldo feeling he's holding the back. You know, got Jota on the bench. Jota's a lethal finisher. He could bring an awful lot more to that front line than Ronaldo. So I'm hoping to pick it up. That's a massive game tonight against France, but France have been another underwhelming team.
I know.
I also think so. Like I said, the Spain-Germany game, I think will be the game of the. Well, I hope it will be the game of the tournament so far. But the France-Portugal will be a very close-knit game as well. I think.
I agree. So I'm going to make you do it. Spain, first game. Spain or Germany?
Spain.
I'm going to go Germany in extra time. Just got a feeling home advantage might just tell. Don't know. Not saying they'll get a dodgy decision, but
Portugal or France?
I'm going to go
France.
Portugal. Yeah, so I've got the opposite. And again, I think it's Portugal if he's brave enough to deal with Ronaldo. If he sticks Ronaldo out and persists with him, and the tantrums come out like the other day, I think they've got problems. It's not, and it's not fair on the other players. There's a lot of talent in that Portuguese team that deserves to be treated on their own merits, really.
I agree.
And some young lad that we can't remember the name of.
Yeah, indeed.
They covered a San Miguel.
We'll end on the England one, but Holland, Turkey. I mean, we play. If we get through, we would play Holland or Turkey. You got to fancy the Dutch on that one, haven't you? Or I mean, they looked okay the other night, Turkey, but they made a bit of a meal of it in the end. So we're thinking the Dutch.
It was only a wonder save kept them in. That was a great save. That kept them in.
It was unbelievable save. Yeah, incredible.
And so England, Switzerland. I'm going to ask you for a score as well, if we can. First,
okay. I'm going to go brave.
Go on.
I'm going to go 3-1 England.
I like it. So over you're right.
I like it. I'm not going to be so brave. I'm going to say 2-2 after 90 minutes. No goals in extra time. And we're back to our old favourite penalties.
And then Tony.
And win.
And win, but not without drama.
I think you're right. Last question, boys. Is it coming home?
Strangely,
I don't think so.
Strangely, this is probably for me.
We've got to get to the
my
final.
opinion. This has been the only tournament where I've watched England and I've been so disinterested with watching our home nation that strangely it's probably going to come home.
Love it. You heard it.
And we're gonna win it, and we're gonna go. We were useless, but we won.
It'll be so fucking frustrating if it's a complete anticlimax. All sitting there going, oh right, okay, well that was that then. What do we do? It will be one of them.
Yeah, exactly. I can't see it. I think the only chance we've got really is he almost says to the team, right, it's over to you guys, go and do it. Pick a team, let's have a team talk, let's be bold in the team talk, tell me where you think it's going wrong, let's be open, let's have a head-to-head. And if they get any real nuggets out of an honest conversation like that, change the team and they all go out there re-energized, we've got a good chance. Yeah. Because we've got great talent, it's just getting it to gel.
Getting the best out of them,
He being about, not being able to disqualify from playing might be a blessing. Sometimes you need a player to be out to change the formation.
Something to happen, yeah.
Excellent. Yep. Well, guys, listen, enjoy the game. You'll be out there still. When are you back, Paul?
I'm back Sunday afternoon. So if you're around Sunday evening, I might see you in the locality.
We will. You'll be in some drunken bar and with loads of other England fans, one assumes.
I think we've booked a table in a place in town. Yeah, it's likely to be busy. I think so.
Sure it will. There's loads of Brits out there, right?
Say again?
Loads of Brits out there.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of Brits, Scots, Irish. There's a big mix. So there'll be as many anti-England fans as there will be England fans, I think. So it should be an interesting atmosphere.
With yourself, Matt, are you watching at home, or will you get to the pub?
I'm working until 5:30, so I'll be catching the majority of the first half at work, and then getting home in record time for the second half to watch it with the kids and the missus. Yeah.
Oh well. Listen, fingers crossed, chaps. It's been a pleasure, and all be safe. And please, Gareth, always end it with please, Gareth, don't do something fucking stupid, because we've had enough of the disappointment. Guys, thanks everyone for listening. Please like, share all of this, and hopefully we will be coming home or we won't be coming home. No, the trophy. That would be better. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.